My name is Ahmed. I come from Gaza. I've lived my life there, and I left in 2002 to go to the UK to do my postgraduates in English literature, and I finished my BA, MA, and PhD in there. And now I'm trying to get back to visit my family, whom I haven't seen for about 7 years. I haven't seen them for a long time, and unfortunately, my mother got very ill recently, and she is under chemotherapy at the moment. So I would like to go and see her before anything bad happens, God forbid, to her. I've tried many times to go through the Rafah border or any other, means, but it's always shut. It's always, segregated. It's always, you can never get there, and it's always been the case like this for about 7 years. The last 7 years, I haven't seen my family, so I hope that by coming today and trying to get on the boat that I will be able to at least see my family. I mean, despite all the difficulties that we are facing and despite all the risks that we're taking, whether, difficulties with the separate government or with the risk with the Israelis, because if I do get arrested, it will be a big problem for me, because that means I will be subject to Israeli military rules because I'm from Gaza. A lot of people here will be detained but deported in the end. The embassies will interfere, but I don't have an embassy. I don't have a home. I don't have a homeland. I don't have a country. We have the Palestinian Authority, but they can't do anything. There are about 12,000 prisoners in the Israeli prisoners, and I will be just one drop in the ocean, and who's gonna, it would be a good place for them to kind of have someone else who didn't do anything, but someone they can bargain on later on, and that scares me. I would like to go and see my family, but at the same time, I don't want to be stuck in Gaza for forever, because I do have my life in the UK. I have my work. I have my pregnant wife. I have all of these things to go back to. I mean, what I want and what I'm looking for is to have the freedom of movement and the freedom of being able to go back home and to access my family whenever I want to, and in the conditions that I want to, not what people want to or the occupier wants to. And that is a basic human right that everyone in the whole world has it. Even in the most deprived areas, people still can go even to Iraq. They still can go back to their home if they decide to. But in Gaza, it's the only place where you can't go to the place where you lived and grew up and was born in. And I'm just only one case, and I'm lucky to be here, and I'm trying this different route. And I do hope that this route will create a different access and a different passage for people, that it's not going to only affect the passengers but also traders as well, and then create just that freedom. Every country in the whole world has its authority on their port. Why not us? Why can't we have that? But that's because the Israelis decide differently, and unfortunately the whole world is silent about it. It's when you think of someone is trying to visit their mum, maybe it's not an important thing. It's not going to change the politics of the region dramatically. It's not going to sort out the Middle East problem, but it will sort out my problems a lot. It will just sort out the emotions. I mean, now I told my mum I was coming, and she's very excited. She's very, instead of thinking about chemotherapy, and instead of thinking about any medication, she's thinking about her son coming to visit her, coming to see her, and she's thinking about the dishes she wants to make. She's thinking about where to take him. That's what she's thinking about, and that's to me very important, and at least I'm contributing to making my mother feel much better. My mother got ill in April. Well, that's when we found out that she had cancer, but she's always been suffering. Like she had a stomachache for a long time, and she went to the doctors, and they gave her medicine in the beginning, but then later, and that was last year, end of last year, and because of the siege and the blockades, there was no medicine. So the doctors thought that it was just because she wasn't taking any medicine, there wasn't any medicine in, that she wasn't getting any better. But then the problem developed further and further, and it was until after the war in Gaza that a medical delegation came from Jordan, and the Jordanian doctor just looked at this and said there's something wrong, and we have to operate immediately. And once they started operating, they found out like a big lump of cancer in her colon, and her womb spread massively in there. And the doctor said also that because of the white phosphorus that was used against civilians in Gaza, that fueled the cancer dramatically. And he said that she could have been gone very easily. And of course, the doctor did his best. He removed the lump, he removed the tumor as much as he could. But now she needs chemotherapy. and that chemotherapy is not available in Gaza. Well, it's some of it is available because there's two halves. One is radiotherapy, and the other is the actual chemicals that go in, and we don't have the radiotherapy. And I've tried myself to get her to travel to the UK or to travel to other countries, but there's no way she can leave. There is absolutely no way. And at the same time that there is no medicine there. So what I can see now is someone dying very slowly. It's just taking them ages and ages to die without anyone giving them the right care and the right medication. And unfortunately, if this was happening anywhere in the world, it would be in the headline. It would be if it was happening in London, it would be the headline in the papers for about a week or something. But there are hundreds and if not thousands of people like my mother in there. I am lucky to be able to talk about her, but there are a lot of people who go through the similar problem, and they can't hear these stories. We're not talking about heroic, we're not talking about fighting, we're not talking about religion, we're not talking about anything else. We're talking about just a simple person who wants to fight illness, and I think everyone has the right to do that. If a dog gets ill or violated somehow or denied access to medicine, animal rights organizations would go mad. I mean, why are we less than animals, or what are we exactly? Just some alien creatures that we don't care if they die or not. If the same thing was happening in Israel, people would be really angry, and it would make the news about it. But my mum, she's nobody, and that's the problem. That's the problem with our life, that sometimes life is hard and sometimes it's difficult, but we can face that. But what we can't face is when you blame the victim and say it's your fault and you should die. We're not going to do anything about it because it's your fault. It's just trying to take off all your responsibility from it, because we know for sure that the United States supports. The US sells the latest military equipments and technology to Israel, but in Palestine there is nothing. There is no army. I mean, the latest technology or the latest weapon is the Kalashnikov, which was used in the Second World War. I mean, Israel is a nuclear power. They get the latest jet fighters, the latest tanks. The Merkava 4 is one of the most powerful. How can America and the West just support Israel with so many military equipments, but the Palestinians are left defenseless completely? It's the same thing that happened in 1948, basically, when Britain withdrew from Palestine and gave all the military equipments and the locations to the Israelis, but to the Palestinians they were just left there. They even gave the date, the withdrawal date to the Israelis, but to the Palestinians they were left defenseless. We didn't know what was happening, and that just supporting is like someone was telling me. It's just there are two things. One, what the West is doing is they're supporting the perpetrator against the victim. And the second thing is just staying away from it, trying to be balanced and trying to be neutral. But unfortunately, in this situation, you can't be that, because I remember one of my friends saying that what's happening in Palestine at the moment is like domestic violence. That maybe the wife has overboiled the tea or overcooked or burned the food or something. But does that justify the husband beating her up? I don't think so. It doesn't. And if you stay silent and stay away from it, then you're contributing and you're allowing it to happen. And that's what's happening now. And we do hope that Obama will be able to make a difference, will be able to see these things. He's not a stupid man, he's a smart man. He can see where human rights are being violated. His race has been violated themselves, and we hope that he can relate to us a little bit and see where we're coming from, rather than just look at us as extremists fighting, wanting to kill people. We don't want to kill anyone, we just want to live. I doubt anyone would be interested in carrying a weapon, because what we want is like me now, I mean, I'm going back not to do anything. I'm going back not to make a political statement, not to say, oh, look at me, I am Ahmed, Masood, whatever, was in the UK and going back to Gaza. No, I'm going to see my mum. That's all what I want. And if the border was open, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't. I would just go straight away, quietly, see my family, and then go back after 3 weeks. Everyone, Australians complain about how long it takes them from the UK to Australia to travel, about 25 hours or something. But come and try this, for goodness sake. It's been 3 days so far, and now we are in the port. We're not allowed to leave. If you get to there, you might get arrested or you might get shot. So, try this and maybe you'll never complain again. At least no one is stopping you. No one is, saying you can't, And that is it. That's it. It's the freedom. It's the ability to do it. It's deciding I want to do it and can do it. Then the hardships are easy, Yes.